Hey guys, I'm Andrea Dunlop. So you may have noticed that I haven't released a video in a couple of weeks, and I just wanted to take a beat and kind of think about what I'm doing with my social media and kind of what I'm doing with my life in light of some of the questions about racial inequality and injustice that are really dominating the conversation right now, both online and off. And I wanted to think about some kind of books and publishing related content that I could offer up to you guys at this moment that would sort of meet the sort of extraordinary moment that we're in. So I know this has been a really difficult time for a lot of folks out there, that people are feeling, a lot of grief, a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, that people are having, really complicated conversations with their friends and with their family members, with their neighbors. And, what's really interesting to me and a hopeful sign is that books have played a big part in this conversation so far. So if you look at the New York Times bestseller list over the last couple of weeks on the nonfiction side, they've been absolutely dominated by books on the topic. So things like How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi, which I just finished listening to the audiobook of, cannot recommend it enough. Books like White Fragility, so you want to talk about race, and others have just been really, really a big part of this conversation on kind of like the listening and learning side. And in the meantime, book publishing, like really every other industry in this country right now, is having a pretty long overdue reckoning about kind of race and representation and all of these issues. So I want to spend the next couple of videos unpacking some of those things, but I'm going to start with something today that is fun and positive and just talk about what we can all do as readers and buying some fun books. So a lot of these issues with race and representation in publishing are happening upstream within the industry itself. And I will definitely get to talking about some of those, but those things are obviously going to take time to change. What we can do as readers right now, however, is make it really clear to publishers that books by Black authors have universal appeal and that we want more of them. So often a lot of publicity and marketing is coordinated around a book's actual on sale date. So that is, the day that it's actually available for purchase, that it's going to be on bookstore shelves, show up at your door if you've already ordered it, etc. But what I think a lot of readers are less aware of is just how important pre-orders are. So if you follow a lot of authors on social media, you'll probably notice that we start posting that our book's available for pre-order several months in advance of the on sale date. And the important thing to know about pre-orders is that all of those orders that happen before an on-sale date count towards the first week of sales for a book. So that really impacts a book's chance of debuting somewhere on the New York Times bestseller list. And I should mention here that, of course, the New York Times bestseller list is just one sort of marker of a book's success, but obviously it is a big splashy one, and it really impacts what books a publishing house might publish in the future. That kind of gets into a question of comps, and I will definitely dive deeper into that later. But just what to know as readers is that the sooner you can order a book, the better. So it's also just kind of takes it off your to-do list if there's a book that that you want to support that's coming out in a month or 2 months or 3 months. The other thing to know about pre-orders is, of course, that can really affect the way that a book gets launched, because if those numbers are really high, then a publisher is going to know there's a lot of interest in that book, and they might put more marketing resources towards that book to actually launch it into the world. So, the bottom line here is pre-orders can make a huge difference. Okay, so just a note here to add that if you can't buy a book by an author that you want to support, I know finances are really tough for a lot of folks right now, and hardcovers especially, with new books, can get really expensive, especially with, so many of us reading at the clip that we do. So something to note also is that pre-reserving a copy at your local library can also make a big difference. Library buys can be really huge for authors. This is one of our only opportunities, especially for, those of us who write fiction. This is one of our only opportunities for really big bulk buys. And so I think sometimes, again, readers are not quite aware of how impactful it is to be checking books out from the library to get on that waiting list. Obviously, if a library knows that there's a big demand for a book, they'll order more copies. So stuff like that, or even just something as simple as adding a book to your want to read list on Goodreads, talking about the book in advance on your social media, sharing content from that author, just helping with that awareness of that book. This is all stuff that publishers keep an eye eye on, and it all makes a difference. Okay, so just a few campaigns here to note that are really giving Black authors a boost this summer. The phenomenal Bookstagrammer, Absorbed in Pages, has started a campaign that's going called Team Pre-Order, which is all about this concept of highlighting, new and upcoming books from Black authors to add to your list. So definitely follow her if you don't already. I followed her for ages. She just has a great Bookstagram account, and also follow and use the hashtag Team Pre-Order. Another campaign that's actually happening this week while I'm filming, so we'll have wrapped up by the time I'm sharing this video, but that is interesting to go and look at and is really exciting, is the Black Publishing Power campaign that was started by Amistad Books, which is a historically Black publisher, where they're encouraging folks this week, the week of June 15th, to buy 2 books by Black authors in order to just keep this trend of having so many Black authors on the bestseller list going. So this is also just a great, hashtag to peruse to find books by Black authors if you are looking for some to add to your list. Also want to just give a shout out to Patience Randall of @Ink and Fable for getting this on my radar, and she also has a fabulous Bookstagram account, so go and follow her as well. The other big one to note, obviously, is hashtag Own Voices. The Own Voices campaign has been going for ages, and obviously they've been on this tip for a while. Okay, and so just a final thing, I'm going to sound like a broken record here because I talk about it every time I'm talking about how you can support authors, but just remember to keep sharing. So buy books by Black authors, read them, rate them and review them on Goodreads and Amazon, share them on your social media, share those recommendations with friends, buy copies for friends if you can. You have more influence than you know, and I am seeing a lot of people rally around this cause right now, so I'm really excited to see how we can kind of all use our collective influence to support Black authors this summer and, just going forward. Should this have always been happening? Yes. Is it kind of pathetic that it's taken this to kind of get some movement on this? Yes, but we're here now, so let's all just get on board. A lot of these conversations, as I said at the top of this video, are really emotional and really difficult, complex, hard conversations, but buying books and celebrating Black authors is a really happy, positive place that we can all put our energies right now. And I'm actually personally feeling more hopeful about seeing a big shift in the publishing industry with regards to race and representation than I ever have. So next week, I'm going to be sharing 10 books by Black authors that I am either currently reading or really excited to read that are coming out later this summer. So keep an eye on that. And in the meantime, let me know what you're reading.